Life is all about the gray area undefined. Life is filled with parallels. You can have your cake and eat it too. You can choose to live your life out loud, or you can choose the in between or the middle of the road. Inside the gray area, that's where life happens. Welcome to Inside the Gray Area, sponsored by McGregor. Hi there. We're here today with Amanda Anderson. She is a physical therapist at McGregor and also a doctor of physical therapy, which I didn't know that was such a thing anymore, but there is. And she really is here to talk a little bit about how physical therapy really contributes to a better quality of life for all of us, no matter what our age. We all probably at one time or other experienced physical therapy in our lives, and it's good to have you around. I remember one time I don't know what happened to my knee one day. I was pushing that cart and all of a sudden I just couldn't walk on my leg anymore. And you put me through all these paces of try this, try that. Everything was working, but I still couldn't walk on my leg. So ultimately physical therapy helped me get back on my feet. But yeah. So tell us a little bit about how long you've been here, Amanda, and what your role is here.
My name is Amanda Anderson, physical therapist. So the credentials to get a physical therapy license, you do 4 years of undergrad, and then it's 3 additional years of PT school, which then equates to a doctorate. I graduated PT school in December 2018. Took my boards exam in January 2019. Ended up passing my exam. Um, Applied here for just the regular physical therapist job. Got hired. This was my first job out of school.
Oh wow.
I started just as the regular staff PT. I did that for about 3 years. And then the rehab director role became available. My company asked if, I'd be interested. And I stepped up to do that role, and I've been the rehab director for about 3 years now.
Sandpoint trajectory right from the very beginning, really.
Yeah, I mean, I've been at McGregor 6 years, so
Wonderful.
yeah, haven't been anywhere else, and I like it, and still here, and it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your role also is building the team that
Yes.
works with you in that department.
Yep. Yes. So I am the rehab director. So under me there's another physical therapist, one occupational therapist, three codas, and
And
then
GOBAs are
codas are occupational therapy assistants.
okay.
So an occupational therapist and physical therapists need to do all of the initial evaluations.
Okay.
But then CODAs, which is the occupational therapy assistants, and PTAs, PT assistants, they can do treatments.
Mm, okay.
So then we have three PTAs, and then we also have two speech therapists with us.
So what are the most types of cases you see
Mhm.
in your area?
So it depends. At McGregor, we have skilled patients and then long-term care patients, as well as assisted living and independent living patients who get referred to therapy. A lot of the skilled patients that we see for therapy, they're coming from the hospital here because they're not strong enough to go home directly. A lot of the types of patients those are like hip replacements, knee replacements, UTIs, falls, generalized weakness. We get, a handful of stroke patients,
Yeah.
things like that. A lot of the patients that we see that live here at McGregor, the long-term care, they're referred more so for like falls, weakness, balance issues.
Wonderful.
So just kind of a combination of, whether they're coming from the hospital or they're already a resident here.
Sure. And we all know, the secret to that longevity is to keep moving, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
you're probably teaching them, first steps of kind of getting back on track, but
Yeah.
then also how do they sustain themselves?
Yeah, definitely. So, a lot of the skilled patients that come here from the hospital, they're, really debilitated. They've been in bed for days in the hospital, haven't really gotten up to walk, or do any kind of, you know, big physical activity. So, the role of therapy is, the day after they get here, we'll evaluate them, we'll sit them up in bed, we'll get them standing, try to get them walking. And then from there, we set a plan of care for them. So basically, making goals for that to complete bed mobility, transfers, gait, leading the stairs if they have to do those to get in and out of their house, working on balance and endurance. So that's kind of promoted like day one once they get here to McGregor.
And how long are they typically with you in a program?
Yeah, so a lot of the skilled patients that come, they have 5 days a week of therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. The set standard we put them on is for 4 weeks when they first come in. Doesn't mean that they'll be here for those 4 weeks. They could be here shorter, longer. It just kind of depends on a number of factors. The biggest factor is insurance. If the insurance is getting their notes and they're doing awesome, walking 150 feet, supervision assist, they're gonna say, "All right, you're good to go," and then they'll set a last cover date for them. But then sometimes you have those patients that they're making like slow, steady progress. They could be here anywhere from like 4 to 8 weeks, just kind of depending on their home situation, the prior level of function, level of support that they have at home. So it's just kind of a combination of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes when they are going home, they kind of get their homework assignments, right?
Yes. Yeah. So then, once last cover day is set and the discharge date for them is set, we'll start preparing them to go home. Throughout therapy, we do a lot of exercises with them, whether it's seated exercises, standing exercises. And then upon discharge, we give them printouts of, exercises that they can continue to do when they do go home. And that kind of sets them up for success. So that way they don't just go home and sit there and not.
Right. Not keep improving.
Yeah. And then social work also, we're kind of an interdisciplinary team approach with that. When they do go home, they do continue like home therapy with them. And then after the home therapy, they can continue on to outpatient therapy, which is a little more high level, stronger and what there's rare.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And most of the time they can do these exercises at home. It doesn't take
Yeah.
some of the equipment that you
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
have in your department.
Yeah. A lot of the time we'll do like, things that are safe for them to do on their own at home without putting them at risk, like of standing or falling. They can do seated marching, knee extension, flexion, ankle pumps, hip abduction, adduction, glute squeezes, quad sets. Those are all really beneficial that they can just do throughout the day while they're sitting in their chair watching TV or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
For sure.
Means we all need PTA, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that you never get to that point of weakness, I
Exactly.
suppose. Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah. So what else are you called upon to do at times? I'm sure you're their cheerleader.
Yeah, no, we're their cheerleader. We're also very involved with the families.
Oh,
When, their loved ones are here for therapy, it's, concerning as a family member because you don't know if they're going to get back to their prior level. They're in a new environment, they're not at home. We want them to succeed. So yeah, like just being their cheerleader, their supporter, just kind of being their voice of reason. I have a lot of family members that call and ask, like, are they doing better? And it's very rewarding to tell them, like, on the first day I saw them, they could barely get out of bed, but now they're walking 100 to 200 feet. So that's just very rewarding as, a physical therapist and just as a director to see my staff, get people from point A to point B, just, helping their overall mobility and just their quality of life.
uh-huh. What's the youngest patient you've ever treated or resident?
Um, here, I think you have to be over like
55.
at least 55 to be able to come here. So probably somewhere along those lines.
And oldest?
Oldest, oh man, definitely a patient that's over 100.
Yeah.
I think there was one here that was maybe like 104. So
Wow.
think I have one on right now that's like maybe 98. They're still doing great. So it just kind of, it depends. Like you can be 70 years old and moving great, or you can be 95 and moving great. It just kind of depends on how mobile and active you were throughout your life. So I think it's just very beneficial to just keep moving. A lot of times the therapists tell the patients, if you don't move it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's kind of our motto.
good adage to follow,
Yeah,
right?
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And for sure, we can all recover and get better no
For
matter
sure.
what stage of the game
Yeah.
or our age. So it's encouraging to know. I think the oldest person on our campus is 108.
Oh my gosh.
You haven't seen her yet, to
Yeah.
my knowledge, but
Yeah.
it's good to know that if you're going to be living that long, that you really do
Yeah.
have to take
Take
care
care
of
of
your
yourself.
body, right?
Yeah.
In one way, shape, or form. And even if it means, I think we've talked before, just even a moderate walk
sure,
It's
yeah.
rewarding to see some of the residents here in the building who,
Right.
even in hot days like this, will take a
Absolutely.
walk, take their walks or their
Yeah.
laps up and down the hallways, or do a few flights of stairs, things like that, just to stay agile
Yeah.
and keep moving, as you said, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of what we preach that when someone's discharged from therapy, like don't just stop because we're not working with you. Just continue on your own to know better yourself and to not have any decline. So that way you can stay strong and live as long as and healthy as you can.
Mhm. Yeah. So, we've had therapy services on our campus, and we
Yeah.
support anybody
Right.
anywhere on our campus, as well as, like you said,
Yeah.
from the general community or people that come from
Yeah.
the hospitals. We do work with a lot of the local hospitals and the VA.
Yep. Yeah.
I know we see a lot of veterans too.
Yeah, there's a ton of veterans that are on caseload. The VA is very generous with the amount of therapy that they allow the veterans to have. And, all the veterans that have therapy, they really enjoy it and they're thankful for it. So no one, I come across that no one ever wants to get off therapy. They wish they could have therapy forever. But unfortunately, we can't keep people on forever if they're not making progress. But it just goes to show that people do enjoy having something to do to better themselves.
Like having a private trainer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If you get a order from your physician, primary care physician that just says PT for the reason strength, mobility, balance, you can bring it to me, Amanda, down in therapy. We're on the first floor of the gardens. Just bring me the physician order and then a copy of your insurance card. And I can run that with the business office, and then we can give you therapy services while you're here in independent living. And it's easy. That can come to you. You can come down to the gym.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
they don't all have to go to the therapy
No, we
room.
would come to that room.
Sometimes, yeah, we do.
Yeah,
We
so,
do provide
sure.
services
They were
wherever they reside on the campus.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. We've gone to the new independent living building.
Good. 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 Yep. So I guess if we ever need your assistance, look for Smiling Amanda in our therapy area.
Yep.
And well, thank you for sharing your information with
Yeah,
us
no
today.
problem. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for joining Inside the Gray Area. We're here to answer all your questions and share some interesting insights. I'm Leanne O'Brien. We look forward to seeing you next time, and be sure to follow us on social media and our YouTube channel.